Well, good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing great. My name is MightyStream. Today is August the 2nd, and I am going to do your Just for Today in a meditation. I am brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our H.O.O.D Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I do not have my headphones on today, so you may hear me moving about, but that's okay. It's authentic. It's my authentic self in my authentic office with my authentic surroundings. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Let's go ahead and get into that meditation. Just for today, August 22nd, practicing. Did I say August 22nd? I hope I said August 2nd. Practicing honesty. When we feel trapped or pressured, it takes great spiritual and emotional strength to be honest. Basic text, page 85. Many of us try to wiggle out of a difficult spot by being dishonest, only to have to humble ourselves later and tell the truth. Some of us twist our stories as a matter of course, even when we could just as easily tell the plain truth. Every time we try to avoid being honest, it backfires on us. Honesty may be uncomfortable, but the trouble we have to endure when we are dishonest is usually far worse than the discomfort of telling the truth. Honesty is one of the fundamental principles of recovery. We applied this principle right from the beginning of our recovery, when we finally admit our powerlessness and unmanageability. We continue to apply the principle of honesty each time we are faced with the option of either living in fantasy or living life on its own terms. Learning to be honest isn't always easy, especially after covering up and deceptions so many of us practice in our addiction. Our voices may shake as we test our newfound honesty. That's a deep sentence. Our voices may shake as we test our newfound honesty. But before long, the sound of the truth coming from our own mouths settles any doubts. Honesty feels good. It's easier living the truth than living a lie. Just for today, I will honestly embrace life with all its pressures and demands. I will practice honesty, even when it is awkward to do so. Honesty will help, not hurt, my efforts to live clean and recover. Honesty will help and not hurt my efforts to live clean and recover. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Join me now, moment of silence. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What a beautiful meditation. Practicing honesty is not easy. And I like that point where it says, when you try to be honest for the first time, when you're first trying it out, your voice may actually shake, it may quiver, right? Because it's going against the grain, especially the mental muscle is telling your body to go ahead and lie and just lie, telling your mouth, just lie. And the truth is suddenly coming out of your mouth and you're not comfortable with that. You know why? Because every action has a reaction. Just as it said here, when we're dishonest, there's always a price that we have to pay. And usually the price or a consequence of our dishonesty is much worse than the discomfort that we would experience simply by telling the truth. But do not be mistaken. Telling the truth is not easy for us in recovery. That's why we have to practice it. And when we begin to learn to tell the truth, because you have to learn it and you have to be intentional with it, right? There's going to be some discomfort. But the discomfort of you telling the truth is going to be far less than the discomfort you will feel. You will be haunted by your lies. You will be always trying to duck and dodge the truth that you lied about something. And when you tell one lie, it's like picking up the first one. One is too many, and 1,000 is never enough. After you tell one lie, you will find little cracks in your mask starting to reveal itself, and you will have to tell another lie in order to cover the first one. Or eventually you'll get so fed up with trying to remember what you said and why this person is looking at you sideways because you just told them a year ago. Let me break this down to anyone that is struggling with being, I don't want to say a pathological liar, right? Because that kind of gives you a sense of something criminal, right? But there's this pathology of an individual that is not able to tell the truth, no matter what. I mean, they are chronic liars. They tell lies about stuff that don't even matter. They'll tell somebody, child, I had to stop at Starbucks and get me a coffee before I could get here. I'm so sorry. You are lying. You were just running late. And you don't even show up with a Starbucks. I mean, so sometimes we just lie so that whatever we're about to encounter or are encountering feels easier. But the thing about being in recovery, like, you know how they say, once you come to Narcotics Anonymous, we ruin your high. You'll try to get high, but it'll never be the same. We'll always be in the back of your head. And I can't tell you if that's true or not because I haven't ever relapsed, but it's the same thinking, right? Once you pick up the first lie, you're always going to be haunted about trying to make sure that you keep that facade, keep that mask going, right? And you have to remember the lies that you told in order for that to happen. When simply put, it's even better. Say maybe you've been lying to someone that's important to you. It's even better to say, you know what, I know. Again, I want to go back to this if it's not high risk, right? I know that I have not been completely honest with you. Well, what do you mean? Whatever you lied about? You know what? I've told so many small little lies that I can't even tell you all of the little lies or the little things I've said to try to avoid conflict with you, right? So I don't want to get into that. Believe me, none of it is high risk, but what is high risk is that I feel a need to lie to you. And I shouldn't feel that need. I shouldn't feel like I need to run from you. I shouldn't feel like I can't expose who I truly am to you because I'm worried about rejection. This people pleasing is killing me. I'm telling you things that I think you want to hear, but in the meantime, my insides are dying. So what I'm going to commit to you today is, from here forth, I am going to practice being completely honest with you. I'm going to practice not omitting the truth anymore. I'm going to practice honoring who you are as an adult person that I love, that's in my life and I have a relationship with, and stop second guessing your ability to handle the truth. However, that being said, I also want you to know that it's not going to be easy because there's been times when I told you the truth and you totally flipped the script on me. And I want you to know that me being in fear of your reaction is no longer going to have power over me. But I want you to know, if your reaction when I'm sharing something with you, if I'm not intentionally trying to harm you, right? Cheat on you, take advantage of you, right? And it's just a matter of me trying to people please, and I am sharing with you the truth, and you flip the script on me to the point where I become ashamed or feel guilty, or I cower backwards, right? I want to say cowardly, but it somehow shrinks my person and who I am, I'm going to let you know that we may not be able to continue this interaction, this friendship, this relationship, because I'm not going to live behind a mask anymore. Either you love me or you don't. Either we're friends or we're not. Either we can move forward in truth or we can't. I don't want to live like this anymore, right? So I'm giving you an opportunity to practice open-mindedness. I'm giving you an opportunity to practice tolerance. I'm giving you an opportunity to practice doing something different when you hear something that you don't necessarily agree with. We can agree to disagree, but every time we disagree should not mean that there's a blow up. I should not have to hold my tongue just to keep the peace. And if keeping the peace means that I have to live a lie, then we don't have a future. So I just gave you your lines, right? Those listening, I just gave you your lines. And you know why it was so easy to do? Because I have lived that lie. I have been that person that felt like, oh, they can't handle it, or I don't want them to stop being my friend. No. I have lived that. And that is a self-made prison. Yeah, they're responsible for their part of the street, but that is a self-made prison. And when I finally stood up and said, this is not going to work anymore, like you can't have me on the string, like a puppet that I dance and do what you want just because I'm worried about you being offended about something. No? Now, when you tell the truth and you're being honest, you don't have to, let's say, be rude about it, right? You don't have to be rude about it. If you go into it with the mind frame that this is going to work out positively, and if it doesn't, then there's a reason why it didn't. Because there should never be a problem with you being who you are. There should never be a problem, especially with the people that love you, right? There should never be a problem with you telling the truth. The way you tell it might need to be adjusted, right? There's some people that beat around the bush so bad that you trying to figure out what bush they behind now. Like, just come out with it and say it. Then there's some people that say it in a way that is so harsh that you might think that this is some militia honesty, like we're about to have a fight in the street. Like, do you really have to talk to another person in such a condescending manner, cussing and swearing, but you telling all the truth? Yeah, well, I'm not getting ready to deal with a person like that. So that's your part today. That's what I want from you today. I want for you to start being more honest than you have been. I want for you to own your part, whatever deception you've had, whatever dishonesty, I want you to own your part, figure out, in the spirit of step 8 and 9, whether it's high risk or not. If it's high risk, take it to your sponsor and deal with it. But if it's not high risk, then I want for you to start having faith enough that God loves you and that the person that you're dealing with, that you need to tell the truth. They're a grown individual and they have a God too that loves them. We have to start making room for other people to grow. But a lot of times we don't give them opportunity because we're so fearful of what their reactions might be. And I submit to you that probably they're going to say, thank you so much for telling me the truth. I was thinking this anyway, but I didn't want to accuse you of being dishonest about how you feel with me. But I was kind of already sensing this because of such and such and such and such. And when they tell you that, don't fix your face. Don't get it all twisted. right? And just be like, man, I'm so glad we had this conversation. You don't even have to put no more words on it, because the more talking you do, the more apt you're going to lie, right? Give people an opportunity to love you and love other people enough and yourself enough and God enough to be your authentic self. Practicing honesty. Embrace it. Regardless to the pressure and demands that come in life, embrace honesty. Make a commitment to yourself that you will practice honesty even when it's feeling awkward. Honesty is one of those spiritual principles that will help you live a life clean and in recovery. It will begin to break chains. Think of honesty as being, one of those things, wire cutters, or just something strong enough to break, like a padlock, right? Think of honesty as something like that, and just put it up to the lie, put it up to the situation, and tell yourself, I'm gonna be honest, and clip those chains, because your lying and your dishonesty keeps you in bondage. And I don't want that for you at all. My name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed your company today. Thank you for listening, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.